What would be the scariest message humanity could receive from outer space? Some kind of for real doomsday countdown. Give us a little time to think about how we're screwed and there's nothing we can do about it. There is something comforting to me that we would go down together as a species. In the end, we would all be the same, and no amount of money or success could change it. Everything leading up to that moment had meant everything, and then nothing at the same time. Great, so we're all gonna be lumped in with pedophiles and people that put the milk in before the teabag and water. I have to share hell with them. Do they get a different room at least? No. They reuse teabags too. What video game ability do you wish existed in real life? I wonder what it would be like if everyone had that power. Everyone will have their own perfect universe. That presumes that everyone's advantage does not come at least someone's disadvantage though. That's why there's an infinite multiverse to play with. If you punch directly to your right, what would you hit? My sleeping girlfriend. Edit, my now very awake ex-girlfriend. Room temperature air. Dare it, I dare you. Probably what most of us would be hitting. Genius, I'll do the same. The guy sitting on the right side of the train. He seems like a cool, nice guy, on the phone right now. I'm not gonna do it, sorry. Hey, thank you for not hitting me. You're welcome bro. Wholesome. Hey, thank you for not hitting me. Who's the stranger you've once met that you can't forget? The most memorable was an elderly lady I saw sitting by herself, crying, in the main concourse of a New York airport. I sat down next to her and asked if I could help in any way. She said that she had never been in an airport and that it was overwhelming. She wanted to attend a family funeral on the West Coast, but was confused about where to go in the crowded airport, a situation made worse due to the fact that she was hard of hearing, and the loud announcements just compounded the confusion. The lady was a sweetheart. So, as I once described, I offered to take her through security and directly to her flight. When we arrived at the gate, I explained to the flight attendant that she was hard of hearing, had never been to an airport before, and needed special care. The attendant gladly took the woman under her wing, and assured me she'd be properly cared for, including assistance upon arrival. At which point, this lovely lady turned to wave just before boarding and blew me a kiss. I'll never forget her or this special moment. I had just gotten my license and was bringing my friend home. We live in the middle of nowhere, and he was about a 35-minute drive away. On the way to his house I saw a woman walking on the side of the road, desperately looking for a ride in the cold rain. It was late at night and my friend told me picking someone up was a bad idea, so I didn't. On the way back from his house, I saw her again. She had walked a couple miles already at the point. I decided, fuck it, turned around and asked her if she needed a ride. I took her 15 miles, yes, she was going to walk 15 miles in early March, in the rain, to her town. She was such a cool person. She had some amazing tattoos, and I found out she used to follow Green Day around on tour in the mid-90s. Just awesome, and a really sweet person. She was at the hospital getting some kind of treatment for lupus, and her alcoholic husband abandoned her there with no ride and no phone, so she just decided to start walking. She insisted I drop her off a few blocks from her house, so I did. She didn't have any money, and I told her certainly didn't want any. But she found a crumpled up dollar bill in her pocket and gave it to me anyway. I'm not sure why, but I never spent that dollar. I felt like it wasn't mine and that maybe I'd see her again and give it back to her. I keep in my glove box still, 8 years later. I actually never even met my stranger. I'm told I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. Since before I can remember. When I was 6 my father had been out on a job and met a woman who was an artist. He must have spoken about my love of creating art. When he came home he told me about meeting this artist. When she asked him what brand of pencils I had, he said, the little ones that come with coloring books. She wouldn't hear of it and assured Dad I needed better quality pencils. She sent him home with a brand new set of expensive professional quality colored pencils. That's the day I remember the love of drawing being palpable. I still use that brand today and can't remember a time when I didn't have possession of a set. I think of her often, whoever she is. I feel like she saw me that day. I doubt I would have been so determined to improve on my skills if it weren't for her. Words aren't my first language, so her kindness allowed me an avenue of communication where there perhaps wouldn't have been one. Her kindness almost 50 years later still makes me feel special. When I was 17, my dog got out and was hit by a car. A man, not the driver, found him in the street and called my house. I was home alone and ran outside where he died in my arms. The guy who found him was driving an HVAC truck and clearly had no experience with consoling teenage girls, but he stayed with me and for an hour on the side of the road while I called my parents, cried hysterically with snot and tears streaming down my face, yelled at rubberneckers and was basically inconsolable. He would give me awkward pats on the back to help calm me down until my mom came. Months later, I was working at the grocery store and he came through my line. I recognized him right away, but wasn't sure if he recognized me. Before he left, he made eye contact and gave me a knowing nod and half smile of acknowledgement. He's my favorite stranger. I was a teenager and recently diagnosed with diabetes. I was flying to Florida to visit my grandparents, a trip I had been looking forward to. I was sitting next to a probably 30-year-old woman on the plane. Professional looking, well put together. I had to check my blood glucose and warned her. She said, "No worries, I should check mine also." She showed me her insulin pump. I was in the process of considering switching to a pump. We compared diagnosis stories. I knew a few people my age with diabetes, but it was so uplifting to see a woman a few years older than me, that seemed to have her life put together. It gave me some solid hope for the future I clung for a while.